in each class, right, I will choose two best, right, answers. Okay, and each of you will get one bonus, right? For example, in this one, after a lot of people answering, I see that Nhi and E, for example, are the have the best question or answer, or they answer the most. They have many good answers, right? In the whole section, so today's section. So those two, when they get a bonus point. For each bonus point, you will get directly 0.1 to your midterm. I cannot change your final, right? I cannot change your final. So the only thing that I can help with your grade is your midterm, all right? So if you participate in class, right, you read before, you answer, or I'm not going to ask some crazy questions, so you don't have to like, doing a 2-hour research. As long as you read, you answer, and then maybe when you think, right, you pay attention to the course material, and then you think, you say, why they say this is like this? I'm not sure, I'm not clear, because if this is written like this, it should be understood like this, right? If you ask the good question to show that you actually think and pay attention to the course, the best two for each session will get the bonus point, 0.1. And I will add all of them to your midterm result, for example. And it will be rounded up, right? So, or down to 0.5. For example, you are in a group, right? And you're not the team member, the lead, you're just a team member, you're not a leader, right? And the midterm, the presentation of your home group is 8, the result. Your leader is 8.5, right? Absolutely. And then you have 6 bonus points, right? So you will be added 0.6 to 8, right? So your total one will be 8.6, right? So it means that the result of your midterm in the grade sheet will be 8.5, right? Because 0.6 I cannot round up to 9, right? So, but if you are 8.8, then of course you will go up to 9. Is it clear, everyone? Because we don't have 0.75, right? We only have 0.5. So I will round up to 0.5. So if you are 8.2, you are 8. 8.3, you're 8.5. Okay? So keep track of your bonus points to make sure that you don't miss anything. Okay? Is it clear, the bonus point system of mine?
Yes, we can.
All right, sure. So that's to encourage you guys, right, to participate. And because when you speak, it's easier for you to remember the material. And since again, this is the last semester of the last year, so it's just a nice, I think, encouragement to help you to improve your GPA, I hope, right? Because it's actually your effort, right? If you put out an effort, it should be awarded. Okay. Final exam 70%, right? We don't know the format yet because we're not sure of the pandemic situation. So we're going to follow the decision of the university as well as the decision of the Faculty of Commercial Law and the Division of Commercial Law. Okay. All right, teaching method, lecturing, case study, and working groups. This is for sure. We already discussed that, right? I will share some of the information, right? You guys will look at some cases, and maybe sometimes we're gonna do group work to analyze on specific issues or specific cases in the presentation. Right, so now all the housekeeping is done. Let's get to the main point. Today we're gonna study Chapter 1, right? Introduction to Contract Law. There are 3 subsections that we're going to cover. What is a contract, sources of law, and classification of contract. Okay. All right, so let's first, before we actually read, right? Contract, what is that? We are the last year already. Some of you may have been working or interning already. So maybe you guys share with me and the class. Let's brainstorming. When we hear the word contract, what comes to your mind? We hear contract a lot of times, right? So when we hear the word contract, what pops up in your mind? What do you think? Don't worry about right and wrong, right? We are studying. So if we know everything, we're not here, right? So just share what you guys think. What is a contract? Or when we hear the word contract, what pops up in our mind? We are brainstorming, guys. Maybe some words, some terms, or some examples that would be fine.
Yes, Miss, can I answer the question?
Yep. Ngọc Ý, right? Yep, go ahead.
Yes. So I think a contract is an agreement. Yes, when I hear the word contract, I think about an agreement between two or more people or parties, and especially a contract. This agreement is legally enforceable. So that's what I think about contract.
Legally enforceable. Yep. Thank you. Right. So you hear, you say, so Ngọc Ý. Let me take note. Okay. Or so Ngọc Ý. I'm going to take note of those who have questions or answer, and then I will decide at the end of the class. I will let you know. Maybe I need, before I forget, so maybe I need someone who can help you, maybe the vice can help you me with this. You can also take note of, at the end of the class, I will tell the class who will get the bonus points, okay? And you will also keep the record of it. So I also keep my record so we can cross-check each other if there are any concerns, questions about that. Is it okay?
So I will take note of the person who has the answer or has a question.
No. You will take, at the end of the class, I'm going to say like, okay, the two students going to get bonus points for today's section is Miss A and Miss B, or Miss A and Mr. B, something like that, right? A and B, right? And you just need to take note, okay, February 2nd, 2022, A and B, that's it. And
I
then
understand.
every day, only the last two people that I name at the end of the class are the one that you need to take note. I will take note of everyone who speaks so I can decide, okay?
I understand.
Yep, thanks a lot. So just in case that the students concerned about, maybe I did something wrong, I mistaken somewhere, then I will still have the record we can still have the record to cross-check. Okay, so E said agreement, right? And enforceable by law. Sorry. Wait. This is C, not the E, huh? Enforceable by law. Okay, thanks. Anyone else? Oh, and I will give the monitor and the vice 0.5 at the end of the class as well to the midterm, right? Because you guys actually help us a lot. Jane, please.
Well, I think that the contract is the exchange of the rights and obligation between parties.
Okay, rights of obligation. Can you please clarify what do you mean by that? Rights and obligation. Maybe you can give some examples or very good, Jane, but it would be great if you can clarify it a little bit.
Well,
you can give an example. That would be fine. Can you give an example to illustrate your point of rights and obligation?
well, if I lease the apartment from you, I have to use this.
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
Well, I and you have a contract about leased apartment. I have used apartment from you, and I have a rights with this apartment, and I have an obligation to well, can I can I can
It's okay. Maybe you can think a little bit and then you can come back to me later on. It's fine. All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Miss, can I share my opinion?
I think she's having technical issue, so we shall be waiting for a few minutes.
Yep. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. I cannot see who's speaking. Who's raising your hand? I just sharing thing.
Miss, can you
Okay.
listen to my voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Listen, right?
Yes. When I see the term contract, I think about its form. There are two forms of contract, that is a written contract and oral contract.
Very good. Thanks, Lynn.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone? If you maybe give an example and analyze that example. Okay, give me a second. Who is this? Queen, please.
Yes, can you hear my voice?
Queen, did you raise your hand?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep. I can hear you very well.
Okay. So I think a contract must have a lawful
I think
consideration.
what do you mean by lawful consideration?
Uh,
Can you please elaborate a little bit more? What do you mean? Oh, okay. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, is it better, everyone?
yes, it's better.
Okay. All right, sure. So maybe let me turn off the camera for a while and then I will turn it on back because maybe the internet is unstable. Yes. So Queen, can you please elaborate more? Why? What do you mean by that?
I think consideration refers to like the money, payment, or rewards, or compensation, or something like that.
All right, thanks. Very good point. But can you give an example of consideration in the context of contract law? Give a very basic example to illustrate to your classmate what does it mean by consideration. No, it's okay. All right, it's okay. Take your time and think. If you come up with an example, let me know. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, you guys have a lot of. Yep, you guys have a lot of good points, right? Anyone else? All right, so now let's look at the definition, right, given by the slide, right? So under the US law, a valid contract is an agreement, right? This is what you already mentioned, made between two or more parties, including business organizations that create rights and obligations that are enforceable by law. Okay, exactly, right? So let me give you an example to clarify that, right? So let's see, let's see, maybe Thanh, all right, goes to a Mercedes dealer, right, Vietnam store, right, and say, okay, I would like to buy a car, a sedan, S400, right, and you guys gonna have an agreement, right? The price is 4.5, maybe 5 billion Vietnam dong, right? And after agree on the price, agree on the model and the color and all the options, right? You guys signed a contract, right? A written contract. There are different forms, an oral and written, but this one you want to sign a written contract. And this is between two more parties, right? Including business organization. So it's between this case, between two parties. The first one is Canlin, and the second one is the Mercedes dealer, right? Vietnam Star, which is a business organization, right? And you create the rights and obligations. What are the rights and obligations of Canlin and the dealer in this case, guys? So the rights and obligations, right? So they create the rights and obligations. So what are the rights and obligations in the example that I just shared with you? Canlin and the Mercedes dealer.
Miss, can I answer the question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think the application of Canlin is to pay the money for the product, and she will has the right to own the product. And meanwhile, the the dealer, right? The dealer has the right to receive Canlin's money, and their obligation is to give Canlin the product.
Okay. Yep. I couldn't hear your first part. Could you please repeat a little bit? There was the bad connection.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Canlin has to pay the money for the product, and she has the right to own that one.
Okay, very good. Right. So the right of Canlin is to have the Mercedes S400 as per her order, the color, the options, and the condition, right? The model, the year, everything, right? And her obligation is to pay the agreed price, right? And how about the Mercedes dealer? What are their rights and obligations? Châu Long, what are the obligations in
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. The right of the dealer is to receive the money from Canlin, and their obligation is to tell every information of that product to Canlin and give that product to Canlin when she has paid the money.
All right, thanks a lot, right? So their right is to receive the amount of money that agreed in the contract, right? From Canlin and or from anyone related to Canlin is fine, maybe from her boyfriend, her husband, her father, her mother, anyone is fine, but pay for that contract, right? And the obligation is to deliver the car, right? Exactly the right one that Canlin asked or as per mentioned or detailed in the contract, right? Very good. And what do they mean by enforceable by law in this case? What do they mean by enforceable by law? One of you already mentioned that, right? So in this example, so can you please apply this element, enforceability, enforceable by law, and analyze this?
Yes, Miss, I would like to share my opinion.
Yes, Nga, please.
So enforceable by law in terms of the example is that the contract will be drafted according to specific laws like contract law or commercial law, and the rights and obligations of both sides will be protected by law also.
Okay, very good. Yes, are you on the right track? Can you please elaborate more? What do you mean by the rights and obligation of the parties are protected by the law?
Meaning that if one of the party like breach the contract, they do not follow the contract. For example, if Kanlin doesn't pay for the product, but she still receives the product, she has breached the contract, and the other party, which is the Mercedes dealer, will have the full capacity according to the law to claim for the damages or to sue Kanlin. That is enforceable by law.
Okay, perfect. Right. Thanks, Nga. Very, very good. Right. It means that, right, if any of the parties does not carry out their promises, right? I promise to pay you the money if you promise to give me the car, right? Either by Mercedes or by Kanlin, right? And the other party can ask the court, right? And ask the law, right? The law, of course, it's not tangible. So the body that enforce the law is to make sure everyone's rights are protected is the court, right? So the court will ask the other party, the breaching party, right, to do what they promised to do, okay, to the non-breaching party. Okay, very, very good. All right, thank you. All right, and this is just a note for those because you have not studied the Vietnamese Civil Code. So this is under Article 385 of the Vietnam Civil Code 2015, right? And compare and contrast. You can do this one at home, right? So since we already mentioned the definition of contract law, right? And you saw the definition of Vietnamese contract law, right? And later on, you will study more of the US contract law, how different, right? It is between, the Vietnamese contract law and the US contract law in terms of definition, okay? So by compare and contrast, it will help you to understand the concept more, both actually, and to remember it longer. Okay, so sources of law. Okay, before we move on, since Nga already mentioned the protection of the parties' rights, so what is the function? What do you think is the function or why we need contract law? Why we need contract law in our life? Is it necessary, or we can just ignore it and just leave aside the contract law?
Can I ask your question? Can I answer?
Yes. Didn't right?
Yes. I think the function of contract law is to protect the parties of the contract. And when one of them breach the remedy or establishes some dispute between two parties. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Sorry, I cannot hear you at the beginning. I can hear like protect something. And
yeah, I can answer again.
Yep, please.
Yeah, I think the function of law is to protect the parties of the contract. If one of them breach the remedy or breach the obligation or something like that, and or when it takes place some dispute between two parties. Yeah, I think so.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
And moreover, I think it gives the regulation to how to make a valid contract. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Thanks, Tim. All right. Anyone else? What else? What do you guys think?
So I think another function of contract law is to make sure that the subject matter of the contract is not illegal.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Very good point. Anything? Can you please say more about that?
For example, like the most common contract, in my opinion, is the buy and sell contract. So technically, you just cannot buy and sell drugs or like cocaine or something like that, or weapons in Vietnamese.
Okay.
So
Yep.
to make
Example?
sure that yes,
Yep.
that
Yep. I got you. But what, can you please give an example?
an example of
Of a contract that the subject matter of the contract is illegal. That's why we need a contract law.
I think that there's thing that illegal based on like each country. For example,
Vietnam.
Vietnam, for example, like prostitution,
Uh-huh.
or
Okay.
drugs, weapons, or nuclear weapons, things like that.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Yep. Right. Agreed. Right. So, like for example, if you buy and sell, like the sales and purchase of cocaine are almost illegal in most of the countries, right? So the contract law to ensure that those legal conduct does not, how can I say, to prevent, right, those illegal conduct. All right. Agreed. Thank you. Anyone else? Very good point. Nghe.
I think contract law have the function to limit dispute between parties.
Okay, how? Why?
Because when the parties reach a agreement or contract, they must to comply the rule or regulation of this law. So it can limit dispute.
It can limit the dispute. Yes. Okay. Thanks, E. Right. Right. Good.
Yes.
Anyone else? The last one. Yep. Let's hear from the last person. The last idea. No. All right. So as all of your points are very, very good, right? So as you can see that in a modern life, right, everything actually most of all of our relationships like, I mean, not just domestic, like friend, family, and things like that, are entirely contractual relationship, right? So then rights and obligations, like for example, when you lease an apartment, right, to come here and study in Ho Chi Minh City, if you're from another provinces, or if you buy an insurance, motorbike insurance, right? Or if you purchase the goods or any services, if you go to the haircut salon and things like that, right? So the contract law does what? It helps to ensure the parties to the private agreement that their promises will be enforceable, right? And usually, right, you cannot just trust the people promise based on the moral obligation, right? Okay, he will pay, Lynn will pay the price of the car because Lynn is a good person, right? That one is very vague and is very scary because you have to worry about that all the time, and we don't know the people, right? The clients, right? Out of the partners of ours, right? But with the contract law, we don't care if our seller or if our buyer is the good person or not. What we care is that we have a very good contract, that very well prepared contract, to make sure that if that person doesn't pay, right, we can enforce, we can ask the court to enforce, to order that person to do what he or she has to do, right? So contract law helps to provide stability, right, predictability, as well as certainty, right, for both sides, not just only from the buyer, for the seller, right? And as one of you also mentioned, right, it helps to avoid any unnecessary disputes, right, or to minimize, right, any unnecessary disputes, because for the certain things that if they knew that they have to do it anyway, like if you got a car already, you have to pay, right? That is your obligation. Then they will have to pay it anyway, right? Because if we go to the court and if the court has the loser clause, for example, like if the loser of this any lawsuit arising from out of this contract, we have to pay on the reasonable fees, including the lawyer's fees, then that will be insane that you have to avoid to do something that you have to do at the end of the story. All right. Thank you. It's just a very brief thing on why we have to study contract law, and it plays a vital role in our society, right? So the second one that we are talking about is sources of law. We're gonna first discuss the U.S. and then the Vietnamese one. So what are the sources of the U.S. Contract law that you've seen or you have read or you have known of? Oh, let's have a break. Okay, so how long do you think then the break is reasonable? Nghe? You're the vice, right?
Yes, I'm the vice.
Yep. So how long do you think that your class needs for the break between the
I
two
think
sections?
15 will be
15?
Yeah, 15.
Oh, okay, sure. So we will be back at this is 2:22 at February 22, 2022. How very interesting. And so let's get back at 37, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.